No, it doesn't have a warning label because it's dangerous. This is a good example of how political pressure can often supersede science and evidence when it comes to shaping public health guidelines. In the EU, products that contain Red 40 are required to have a label that say that they may have an adverse effect on attention and activity in children. This is an example of what it looks like on a box of Jell-O. It's not exactly easy to find, but it is there. This labeling requirement went into effect in 2010 following a 2007 study published in The Lancet. The study assessed 137 3-year-olds and 138-year-olds using two different drink mixes that had a variation of color additives and a preservative. Mix B was the one that contained Red 40. It was a 6-week double-blind placebo-controlled trial measuring behavioral outcomes. For Mix B, the one that contained Red 40, they found no significant difference in hyperactivity in the group of 3-year-olds and a slight increase in hyperactivity in the group of 8-year-olds. The authors noted that the effect size was likely too small for clinical significance at a population level, but that certain individuals may be sensitive. In response to the study, a scientific panel with the European Food Safety Authority evaluated the evidence and rejected a link between food dyes and hyperactivity. Citing a lack of consistency in the results by age and sex, low effect size, mixture issues, which made it impossible to identify which food additive was problematic, if any, and no plausible biological mechanism to explain a causal link. However, news outlets, as they do, sensationalized the findings, which resulted in public demand to ban what they were calling the Southampton Six, which were the food additives, the colors, and preservatives used in the study. And in response, the European Parliament responded to growing public demand and political pressure and voted in 2008 to require warning labels. These labels don't reflect danger. They weren't an EFSA safety recommendation. They were a political compromise driven by headlines. And honestly, if you actually think about it, it seems like a really random decision based on the weak evidence. For example, ethanol is a group 1 carcinogen, meaning there's strong evidence that ethanol-containing products cause certain cancers. But the EU doesn't require a warning label on ethanol-containing products like wine. Processed meats are also a group 1 carcinogen with strong causal evidence for colorectal cancer, but no warning label requirement exists because there's no public outcry for those, which really highlights how public pressure, not necessarily scientific consensus, often shapes these labeling laws. Anyway, since that Southampton study, many additional studies have been done, and the overwhelming body of evidence suggests that these color additives do not cause ADHD and do not affect most children. For a small subset of children with ADHD, they may worsen symptoms, but the evidence is inconsistent and limited on that. With respect to Red 40 in the EU, the EFSA evaluated its safety in 2009, 2013, and 2015, finding that based on all available data, Red 40 is safe for use. But the label remains, not because of harm, but because of public and political pressure.